Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Advanced Power Query series video APQ 15. In this video we're going to try to understand how each and underscore are working. Actually this video is concentrating or focusing on the concept, not on the example. Although we're going to see a couple of examples, some of them will be like simple example, the other ones will be a little bit complicated. However, the most important is to focus on the concept. Actually, this is not our first time to talk about concept. In the same series, the first 3 videos are focusing on the structure and the concept of M language and Power Query overall. Also, the previous video, APQ 14, was focusing on the concept how we can learn ourselves some M code language functions using the Power Query editor. In the description box, I'm going to leave some links in case that you want to check these kind of concept videos. Let's go directly to Excel and start the video of today. I'm already inside the Power Query editor and I have created a list of numbers from 1 to 10 as you can see exactly here. To do this, I just went to the formula bar and I wrote 2 curly brackets, and inside the 2 curly brackets I put 1 double dot and 10, and this will automatically create such a list. The requirement is to do a modification to this list or transformation to this list, and this transformation will be nothing but the calculation of the square of each and every item of this list, meaning that I need the first item of the list after modification to have 1 squared, which will basically be 1, and then 2 squared, which will be basically 4, and then 3 squared, which will be basically 9. So the new list will contain the following: 1, and then 4, and then 9, and so on and so forth until we reach 100 by end of this list. In order to do so, I'm going to use a function, and this function called list.transform. Although it is not the subject of this video, and it is a very important function you need to learn. However, I'm going to use it in order to try to understand the concept of each and underscore. So I'm going to add a new step and I'm going to hit the F(x) to create the new step. You will see that it will reference automatically the previous step, which is nothing but the list that we already have. And I'm going to start by writing list.transform. And then I'm going to open a bracket and we'll see what is the requirements for this function. The first requirement is a list as a list, and then comma. The second requirement will be transform as a function. So the requirement is to add a function. What this function will do, the function will help me to declare a variable, and this variable will do nothing but replacing or representing each and every item of my list. In order to declare a variable, I need to open double brackets, and inside the brackets I'm going to give a name for this variable. Let's use the letter I. I is just representing each and every item in the list. And then after these 2 brackets, I need to add the rocket sign or the go-to sign, which is basically equal and greater than, and this is nothing but the syntax of creating a function. Finally, I need to tell Power Query what to do exactly with each and every item. So I'm going to tell Power Query, please take the I and multiply it by itself, and then close the bracket for the list.transform, and then hit the check mark. Let's see what will happen. The first item will remain 1 because 1 times 1 is 1. The second item will be 4, 2 times 2, and then 9, 3 times 3. And the final item will be 100, which is basically 10 times 10 or 10 squared. I think so far so good, but one question that I have: what is the relation between this and the each and underscore? Actually, the each and underscore is nothing but a shorthand, or you can say a sugar syntax that can help you to create a function without actually doing the steps of creating a function. In other words, if we go to the formula bar and we replace this syntax with something like each, and each is basically telling Power Query, please go item by item in the list, and then I use the underscore, which is basically the variable. Instead of having the variable like an I letter, it can be underscore, and underscore can represent anything. It can be an item in a list, it can be a row in a table, and so on and so forth. And I'm telling Power Query, please use the underscore and multiply the underscore by itself. So the new syntax is each underscore times underscore. If I hit the check mark, I'm going to receive the same exact result. 1, which is basically the 1 squared, 4, which is basically 2 squared, 9, which is basically 3 squared, and so on and so forth. So at the very first part of this video, we learned two things. The first one is that the each underscore is a shorthand or a sugar syntax that can help you to declare variable and to use functions. Not only this, but the underscore also, in this example, in our case, in this case, will represent each and every item inside a list. This is another query. It is a table, and this table contains two columns. First column contains the dates, and the second column contains numbers, but these numbers are concatenated and separated by a semicolon. Each and every number separated by a semicolon. In this example, I'm going to add a new column, a new custom column, and in this column I need to reference the entire row for each and every row of the table. This simple example will show us that each underscore can take the place or can represent an entire row of a table, not only an item of a list. Then we're going to evolve our example bit by bit. So at the beginning, let me try to add this new column. I'm going to add column and then custom column. This will open the custom column window. I'm going to give a name for this column. I'm going to call it max amount. As we go, you are going to understand why we gave this name. And inside the formula section, I'm going to add only the underscore. My objective here is the underscore can represent each and every record of this table, meaning that the underscore will represent data in the first row, and then the second row, and then the third row, and so on and so forth. And let's commit on this and see what will happen. I'm going to click OK, and you will get a record in each and every line. If you check data for the first record, here is 1st of January, exactly like here. Here is the numbers starting from 173 up to 90, exactly the same here. If we change, if we go to the next line or the next record, you will see exactly it is doing the same. So in this case, the underscore represented each and every row of a table. But let's have a look quickly. You will see that we have only underscore. Where is each? You told me that each and underscore should work together because each will tell Power Query go line by line, and the underscore will take representation of a variable, and according to the context, in this case, it will take the representation of each and every line. I'm going to tell you, don't worry. If you look at the formula bar, you will see that we already have each and underscore together, as you can see here. But because we did it inside the custom column window, it will create the add column function syntax for you. Let's try to review this syntax. Table.add column in order to add a column. Change type, this is nothing but the previous step, which is basically a table, and then the name of the new column, and finally the function that will create the column, which is nothing but each and underscore. Now suppose that you want to access a certain item or a certain field inside this record. I need only the amounts instead of the entire record. In order to do so, I'm going to edit inside the formula bar, and after the each underscore, I'm going to add a square bracket. Inside the square bracket, I'm going to type amounts and then the check mark, and here you go, you have the amounts. Very interesting thing also. In this case, in this syntax, if it happened that you delete the underscore, nothing will change. I'm going to delete the underscore, the check mark, and nothing will change. And also, this is to make the syntax much easier. However, I'm going to leave the underscore so we always remember that each is working with the underscore. And then we're going to take the example further in the next section. Before moving forward with the example, I'm going to show you something. It is not related to each underscore. However, we're going to use it in our example. So let me just add a new step. I'm going to hit the FX, delete whatever written here. I'm going to create a small list, curly brackets, and then I'm going to type 1, 2, 3, and then comma. This is my first item, 1, 2, 3 as a number. And then inside two double quotes, I'm going to type again 1, 2, 3. So I have two items. First one is a number, and the second one is text. If you check here, the first one, the number 1, you will see that it is written in italic. This one written in normal font. This is a very tiny difference between how the items written inside the list, but it can help you visually to see if it is a number or a text. Let me just delete whatever written here and let's go back to our example. The next step I need to do inside this example is to try to find the max of each and every set of these numbers, meaning that I want to take these numbers and try to find the maximum number. In order to do so, I need at the beginning to split the text. To split the text, I'm going to use the delimiter that we have here, which is basically the semicolon. Then I will have a list of text. It will appear like a number, however, it is a text. I need to convert these text into numbers at the beginning and then calculate the max. Let's go directly and try to see how we can do this. At the beginning, let me just expand the formula bar. I'm going to add a new line here, Shift and Enter. And in order to start by splitting the text, I need to use the function text.split. Let me open a bracket and see the requirement. The requirement is text as text. So we have here the underscore together with the field amount. This will represent whatever we have inside this column. So this will represent each and every set of the text. So I can just add a comma and see the second requirement. Second requirement will be nothing but the separator or the delimiter. I have to provide it inside double quote. So double quote and then semicolon. And let's hit the check mark and see what will happen. I think I need to close the bracket first and then hit the check mark. And here you go. You have a list of text. You can notice that the font is normal, not italic, meaning that this appears like numbers, however, in reality, it is text. The very next step is to try to convert this into numbers. In order to do so, I need to add another function. And in this case, I need to access each and every item inside this list. So at the beginning, I need to access the 173, then the 145, then the 144, and so on and so forth. In order to do so, I need to declare a variable and have a function. Or I can use just each and underscore. So inside this formula now, we're going to have double each underscore. The first one, the first each, and this underscore will represent each and every item inside this table. And then I'm going to add another each and underscore. This will access the items inside each and every list. So let's try together. At the beginning, I'm going to take another line, Shift and Enter. I'm going to use the list.transform once more. Open a bracket. The first requirement is list as a list. We already have a list here. This is nothing but a list. And then comma. I need to access each and every item inside this list. So I'm going to type each once more. And then I need to do a transformation inside the list. This transformation is just converting the text into numbers. In order to do so, I'm going to use the function number.fromText and then open a bracket. The only parameter required is text as text. So I need to provide a variable. This variable will represent each and every item of the list, which is basically the underscore, and then close the bracket for table.addColumn. And now let me just hit the check mark. Looks like we have wrong brackets. I think I need to remove this and add it at the end. Hit the check mark and all good. Let's now check our new list. If you check the list now, if you focus on the numbers, you see it is now italic, meaning that now we have a list of numbers. I can easily get the maximum just by using the list.max. Now I'm going to add another line, Shift and Enter, and just after the each, I'm going to type list.max. Open the bracket, and I think you just need to close the bracket at the end and hit the check mark, and I think we are good to go. Now we have 193. If you check these numbers, the maximum number is 193. Let's check another one, 172. The maximum number is okay, 172. So we managed to use each underscore twice. At the beginning, we used the first each together with the first underscore in order to access lines from the table. And then we used another each and underscore in order to access an item inside the inner list. So we managed to go 2 layers down to access an item inside the inner list. So the conclusion here is that the behavior of each underscore is depending on the context. It can represent an item inside a list, it can represent a line or a row inside a table, and also it can represent a table inside groups of table, and this will be exactly our next example. I added a new step and I added a column in order to have the month, the name of the month. And you can notice that I have around 4 dates in month of January, 4 dates in February, and 4 dates in March. And this can help us for sure to do something like a group. So I can group by the month. In order to do so, I'm going to use the Power Query editor, no problem. At the beginning, I'm going to select the column month and then right click and then group by. This will trigger the group by window. Because I already selected the column month, you'll see that the key is automatically set to be month, meaning that I need to group by month. And then the default column name will be the count. Let me change this to something like all max. And then the operation, the default is count rows, but I'm going to change it to all rows. And then I'm going to click on OK and see what will happen. You will find that I have a summary of the table, a unique list of all the months, Jan, Feb, and March. And then I have table, table, table. If we check inside any of these tables, you will see that I have only the rows corresponding to each and every month. So I have here January. I have here all the rows related to January. Why? Because the key here is month, and here is my key is also month. If we change this, if we go to February, you will see the same. If you go to March, you will see the same. So the question here, what is the relation between the group by and also the each and underscore? Let's check the formula bar. You will see that the function used is table.group. This is the function is used for group by. And then you have the name of the previous step, reference to the previous step. The previous step is nothing but a table, and the first requirement for this function is a table. That's why we provided the previous step. And then inside curly bracket, meaning that it is a list, you will see that we have the name of the key or the key column, which is basically the month as we did here. So here is the key that is used for grouping. And then inside double curly bracket, this means list inside the list. At the beginning, you will find the name of the new column, all max, no problem at all. And in order to provide all rows inside each and every subgroup or each and every category, as you can see here, in order to provide this subtable, it used each and underscore, meaning that the each and underscore in this case is representing a table, not an item inside a list, and not a row inside a table or a record inside a table. It is now representing a whole table. As you can see here, each and every subtable is a complete table of 4 columns and 4 rows, and all represented by the each and the underscore. We are not done yet. Let's try to take this example forward. So at the beginning, before doing any change, I'm going to go to the formula bar and I'm going to delete everything after the each and the underscore until I reach the curly bracket and delete. This is nothing but the type of the table. So if I just use the check mark right now, you will see that nothing much changed. So this is the simplest form of this function. So let's try to do some changes here. Now, instead of working with the entire table, as you can see here, I want to work only with one column, which is basically the max amount. In order to try to fetch this column, I'm going to use the square brackets and I'm going to type the name of the column. Let me do this inside the formula bar. I'm going just after the underscore, square bracket, and let me type max amount and then the check mark, and here you go. Now it is converted into a list. If you check any of these lists, it will be nothing but a list of numbers. You remember that at the beginning we used number.fromText in order to convert text into numbers. Now I want to do the opposite. I want to change these numbers into text. Why? Because I'm going to concatenate at the end. And because I need to do this transformation, line by line or item by item inside this list, I need to use again each and underscore, and this time the each underscore will work on the inner list. Also, in order to do so, I'm going to use the list.transform that we used at the beginning, and also I'm going to use another function. At the beginning we used number.fromText. Now I'm going to use text.from. So two functions and each underscore together should do this job. Let's try together. Let me go to the formula bar. Before the each, shift and enter, and just after the each I'm going to use list.transform. Open the bracket. The first requirement is list as a list, no problem. Underscore with max amount is my list. And then comma, the second requirement, the transformation as a function. Remember that the shorthand or the sugar syntax will be each, and after the each I need the function that will do the transformation, and this will be nothing but text.from. Open a bracket. The variable that I'm going to feed inside to present each and every item in the list will be the underscore, and then close the bracket for list.transform. I think I can just hit the check mark. Nothing changed. If you check now, you see that the list now converted into a list of text, not a list of numbers. I think now I'm ready to concatenate all together. In order to do so, I'm going to edit once more. After the each, I'm going to add another line, and then I'm going to use the function text.combine. Text.combine will ask me for text as list, and this is exactly what I have inside here, a list of text. And just after the list, I'm going to add a comma in order to provide the separator or the delimiter. I am going to put it inside two double quotes, space and the pipe, and then space. I think I need to close the bracket for text.combine and then hit the check mark, and here you go. You will find that we have all the numbers for Jan and all the numbers for February and all the numbers for March all concatenated together and separated by the pipe. I'm not interested in the example itself, but all I'm interested in is the concept. You saw that you can use each underscore in several occasions. Every time you use it, it will take a different position or a different job based on the context. Sometimes it can represent an item in a list. Sometimes it can represent a row or a record inside a table. And sometimes it can represent an entire table, as for the example in the group by. I hope that was useful. We learned how we can handle each and underscore, and we saw many examples and many different situations. If you like the video, please like it, subscribe, leave me a comment and share the video, and we'll catch you in the next one, and bye.